policy ideas attract such dedication over any other. One reason is because all of his policies are rooted in the core underlying principles of life, liberty, and property. These three principles are precisely what made America what it is. They define our national identity. Yet each other candidate's philosophy is riddled with contradictions of death, coercion, and theft. In government-controlled medicine, whether by forced vaccinations or compulsory health insurance, some candidates find all three. In waging undeclared wars overseas and meddling in the internal affairs of other countries, all other candidates contradict their stated love of these essential American principles. But beyond even that, Dr. Paul's supporters are passionate because only they can know that their candidate will do exactly what he says when elected. Dr. Paul has stayed true to his positions throughout a long life in politics and resisted pressure such that his party gave up trying years ago. Outside his political life, Dr. Paul's professional and personal life, and those of his children, reflect a man with an extraordinarily deep commitment to faith and family. Dr. Paul's supporters share his convictions, but most of all, they truly know that they can trust him to stand by them against any opposition, no matter how powerful. And it is because of the profound dedication and commitment of this great body of informed and courageous Americans that Dr. Paul's campaign will triumph. Moreover, it is becoming clear by the day that Dr. Paul is the only candidate in this race capable of defeating President Obama. Indeed, a Rasmussen poll released 2 days ago showed Dr. Paul, and only Dr. Paul, within 1 percentage point of winning the presidency. This is what one would expect, since Dr. Paul is the only candidate campaigning on the issues that would shatter President Obama's base: his abuse of executive power, his unilateral invasion of Libya without so much as speaking to Congress, the continued occupation of the Middle East at trillions of dollars of taxpayer expense, the Wall Street bailouts given by this president and the one before him, the corporate abuse of government power. It is plain to see that where Dr. Paul would shatter the opposition, any other Republican candidate would solidify it. Incredibly, some seem to have already forgotten the former president who doubled the debt, brought down the economy, and drove voters into the welcoming arms of the left. This is the fate they would repeat. And then there's the Federal Reserve, which anyone of any political persuasion can clearly see, with so little investigation, is clearly acting against the interest of the American people. It is easiest perhaps to see this when looking at the trillions in credit for foreign banks following the latest money printing operation known as QE2. Those revelations only came to light because of Congressman Paul's ceaseless efforts to shine light on the Federal Reserve. But the Federal Reserve issue reveals something about Dr. Paul that nobody is willing to say. Dr. Paul is already the most powerful man in Washington. To see the Federal Reserve change in just a few short years from an unknown, poorly understood, rarely cared about aspect of government to one of the most reviled institutions in American politics, and indeed changing its policies under the tremendous pressure, illustrates something Republicans must see. No major edifice of power in this country on the scale of the Federal Reserve has been challenged this seriously in my lifetime. Not the military-industrial complex, not corporate protectionist rackets run by regulatory agencies, not internationalist organizations, not the government's obsession with spying on law-abiding Americans. Yet Dr. Paul is challenging all of those things. And against the center of it all, the Federal Reserve, he is winning. Contrast that with President Obama, who has in fact done nothing whatsoever to stand up to the Washington establishment, and if anything, accelerated the unraveling of our economy. Behind the most humble persona ever seen in a politician, Ron Paul isn't just standing up to the establishment. He is engaging in battle with the most powerful, well-financed institutions in the world, and not even breaking a sweat. Which brings up another important point. Dr. Paul is an immensely skilled politician. If this were not so, his son would not be a U.S. Senator, and his fellow candidates would not be tripping over each other to copycat him on his opposition to the Federal Reserve and on his commitment to the Constitution. Anybody who claims Dr. Paul is not a skilled politician hasn't done anything in his life. Dr. Paul has a great and dedicated following because of his message, because of his honesty, because of his courage, and also even too because of his know-how. Here then in Dr. Paul, we see the perfect candidate. An elder statesman, a doctor, a scholar, full of principle and deeply committed not only to his family and his country, but indeed to all life in this suffering world. And yet within this great-grandfather lives more vitality and courage than men half his age. And today we embark upon our campaign to make in Michigan to make our hero, this hero, our nominee. Dr. Paul's message cannot be contained, and it's our mission to build the political organization to carry forth to victory. Today's Republican opinion polls reflect nothing more than a reflection of mass media coverage. But on February 28th, the citizens will vote with their hearts and minds, not their eyes. We will see to that. While rival candidates have nowhere to go but down, we will recruit, train, equip, and mobilize patriots across Michigan to build organizations in their hometowns, to reach out to every voter in Michigan, to educate, engage, and bring to the polls on Election Day. We will win Michigan for Dr. Paul, or build the strongest political organization Michigan has ever seen trying. Thank you all for listening.